What's going down, ladies and gentlemen? I think that works a lot better. I'll just say that. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. How are thou? Sorry about that. I had to get my stuff going. How is everybody? Fine, I hope. Yeah, hey, what's going on, Renita? Hey, that's what's up, man. Hey, what's going on, Christopher? Oh, man. Hold on, guys. My phone's about to die. How is everyone? How are you guys? Fine, I hope. Hope you guys had an amazing day. I should start using that camera up there, but I'm gonna chill for now. I might swap it up a little later. How you guys? What's up? What's going on, Jer Bear? How are you, kind sir? You said worked all day, okay? Of course you did, Christopher. You're a working man, right? Of course you did, Chris. Christopher's a working man. What's up, Yachty? Christopher's a working man. That's what I love to hear, man. Oh my gosh. Okay. And so today we're gonna switch it up a little bit. So I wanted to first off, before we get started, let me ask, how are you guys? Before I even get started, how are you? How's everything going? How was your day? Anything exciting happening? How's everybody doing? Christopher said I am ready for vacation, ready for a week of seafood, tacos, and the beach. That's what's up, man. I'm doing pretty well, man. Thank you guys. Thank you, Miss Renita, for asking. I am good. I'm good. I'm good. A little anxious for our 100 days to be done. A little anxious. Not in a bad way or nothing, in a good way. No, not in a bad way at all. In a good way. You know. All right, so yeah, let's kind of jump in and hold on one sec. This dude over here sounding like he's chewing on balloons and shit. Like every time I look at him, he'll stop. Good guy, but that noise sometimes. Oh my lord. But maybe that's my thing that I have to work on. I don't know. Anyway, so today I thought we kind of switch it up a little bit and talk about a story that that actually helped change my life, my perspective. And today we're going to talk a little bit about a good old guy by the name of Sam Walton. You may know him as Walmart, right? And so today, season 10, episode 94, we're going to talk about Walmart, and we're going to talk about his vision, and we're going to talk about his principles, right? Christopher, I felt that you would say that, but hopefully, Christopher, I can fill in some gaps of where what Sam set up, his children or great grandchildren kind of dropped the ball on some of that stuff. So if you wouldn't mind keeping an open mind just for a little bit. Now, if you still feel the same way at the end, Chris, I 100% understand. But all I ask is that you keep an open mind. Can we do that just for a little bit? And here's the thing: today is part one of two, because there's 10 different things that he talked about. Oh, somebody's up. Okay. All right. So Sam Walton, born 1918 and died in 1992, was the visionary founder of Walmart and Sam's Club, and the most influential entrepreneur in American retail history. I don't know if you guys know that. Sam Walton was dying of cancer when he wrote his autobiography, Sam Walton Made in America, which was published in, I think, 92. Yeah. Yeah, because he died a few months after the book was published. One of the things that he said that he always wanted to write a book, but not on his deathbed. So, all right, so before we get started, if you guys wouldn't mind giving yourselves a round of applause, pretty please. Give me a round of applause while you just handing out round of applauses. Give me a round of applause. Thank you guys so much. What are we clapping for? Number one, we're clapping because today is 94 episodes. 94. We got 6 more to go. 94 episodes. Do you hear me, y'all? 94. Right? You're also clapping for yourselves, so give yourselves a round of applause. But you're also clapping because if you don't clap for you, nobody else will either. I'm just throwing it out there. They're not going to do it. Okay? Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Anya. Miss Renita. I double the applause, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you oh so much. And Jerry stopped. I don't know what he did. Thank you, Miss Yachty. Thank you. All right, here's our warning. You know what? We've been here long enough. First and foremost, I'll just say if you're easily offended, please go somewhere else. We do kind of get deep in some of these conversations that we have. I am not your ordinary run of the mill traditional life coach. I'm a little out there. I'm a little unorthodox on the way that I approach certain things. So if you're easily offended, please go somewhere else. I don't want to be sued, and I don't want my channel being what's the word, checked or striked because you know what I'm saying you're feeling away. So bugger off. All right. For the rest of you, welcome. Thank you guys so much for showing up. And kind of go from there, right? Real fast before we really get started. How have you guys been doing with keeping your word? You going to bed, buddy? Okay, good night. How have you been doing with yours, Miss Shotty? I haven't talked to you in a little bit. Yeah, it's funny. Thank you, Christopher. How's the rest of you been doing with that? Okay. Miss Renita said good. All right, perfect. Chris said good. Hey, you know what? You have every right to be. Be crabby. If you're going to be crabby, this is a place to do it. We welcome it. Good. Good. Awesome, smartsome. All right, let's jump on. It's all good. Thank you, Miss Anya. Miss Anya says it's all good, ladies and gentlemen. We can relax now. All right, hold on one sec. Let's get our thunder. You are now entering, ladies and gentlemen, the learning zone. Yes, my friend. You can always tell when you're in the learning zone. Okay. In my deep Barry White type voice. Boom. You already get. How about this one? How about this one? Hold on.
Viewer discretion is advised.
That's what I should use for my for the warning. How about this? We'll go up here. Watch this.
Viewer discretion is advised.
What do you think of that one? But anyway, so I don't know. I just kind of thought that was kind of funny. But anyway. All right. So anyway, you are at the learning zone. Thank you guys so much. You know, it's your guy. So before we get started, please go grab yourself a pen, pad, or whatever you need to get focused. Right? Because I am only here to teach some shit. I'm only here to help. So, but the way that you can help me is to help yourself. Grab yourself a snack, a blanket, pen, pad, snuggie if you want to. It's a little chillier tonight than it was yesterday. It was hot as fudge nougats yesterday. So grab yourself something. Grab yourself some reading glasses or a charger if you need to, or tablet. I have a tablet sitting right here. So grab yourself whatever you need to get focused, to stay focused. Miss Anya is working on her knitting stuff. On the first panel of a sweater, and she's going to get a second one connected. That's what she said. Good job, Miss Anya. I'm with you. Right? I'm just saying. You know what that sound is, don't you? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. I don't mind being that. I don't mind being booed. Why? Because I walk with two words, ladies and gentlemen. So, can I, if you guys don't mind, can I get a hell yeah so we can get this thing started? Pretty please, sugar on top. From the infamous words of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Can I get a hell yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so we can get this thing started? Pretty please, sugar on top. Thank you, Miss Renita. Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Mijati. I very much appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You know I can't get started without hearing that. Unless it's Q&A weekend, then I don't really give a fuck at that point. All right, so today, like I said, is episode season 10. Yes, season 10, episode 94. We got 6 more until we're out of this bitch. 6 more, y'all. All right, so Sam Walton's vision of Wally World Part 1. All right, let's start it off with a fun fact, though. So, Hey, what's up, Jerry Bear? Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Walton had 4 children. He had Rob, affectionately known as Samuel. He had John, Jim, and Alice. Sam included, if you can see at the bottom, it says Sam included his wife and children in every aspect of Walmart. All hands were on deck. And the reason why I really talk about this with the emphasis is because whenever we're talking about our dreams, our goals, our aspirations, the things that we want to be, do, have, give, and go in life, we rarely include our loved ones. We rarely include our family in our shit. And then while mom or dad or whomever is out there um doing their thing, you have the kids and the family at home waiting for y'all to come back. Right? And I'm like, dude, when I read his book, I read his book years ago. Everything I did after that, I made sure I included my kid in everything that I wanted to do. Now, I didn't necessarily, I'm not saying that my goals are his goals and his are mine. I'm just saying, bro, you got to be included in my shit. Because I'm not trying to be out here by myself without you knowing what I'm doing. So, whatever I'm out here doing, you got to be out here doing. You see what I'm saying? So, if we're out here putting books away and shit, guess who gets to put books away? If I'm out here having to learn all of these different tools, techniques, and strategies to help people, guess who's about to be learning these tools, technologies, and strategies to help people? You, son. You are going to be my guinea pig for this shit. Because if it works on you, it'll work on everybody. See what I mean? So every time that you guys have a goal, especially if you're a parent, first thing I love to ask is, where are your children in all this? Are they not interested? It don't matter whether they're interested or not. Where are they at in this? You have no idea that something that you start over here 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, them kids ain't going to remember that. They will remember that. Okay? So include your kids in your dreams, man. Include them. And if you ain't got kids, include your friends and family in what you got going on. Include them too. Because if you make it big, they can't ever say that you didn't try to include them. Okay? And I'm not saying hire them. I just said include them. There's a difference. We'll talk about that too if you want to. I'm just saying include your kids in your goals. You'll thank me later. All right. So the first thing that Sam Walton talked in his book, did I talk about the book? I already talked about the book. Was commit to your business. Okay. He said that I was always driven to buck the system, to innovate, to take things beyond where things have actually been. He was always so serious about his business because it was his. You know what I'm saying? You have to commit to that shit. And whether you're starting a business or not, you're doing something that requires a commitment. Right? Yes, Chris, include your nephew. There you go, include your nephew. Hey, look at that. Morgan's here. What's up, dear? What's going on? Morgan, if you're still doing that one business, I would advise that you not, and I repeat, not get your kids involved in some of the shit you got going on. If you're still doing that thing that you were doing before, I'm just saying, I would not include your children in that. If you catch my drift. And y'all, she wasn't doing anything illegal by no means. It wasn't illegal. Now, immoral, yes, for children to do. Well, okay, perfect. See, now they got to be 18. All right, so perfect. That solves that problem. Thank you, Morgan. That solves that problem. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, if you knew what she does, do you still do that? By the way, have your parties, y'all. Morgan is just like Anya. Thank you. Morgan is just like Anya. Remember how I told you guys how Anya has like no fear? She'll go out and talk to anybody about anything. Morgan is the same exact way. Like dead ass, like no joke. And she goes out for that stuff. I would love to see Anya and Jennifer get out and go do something. That would be crazy. Well, you still have the product, but don't have the parties. Man, you better sell that shit on Marketplace. I'm sure they have a obscure place to sell stuff. You know what? You should talk to Jerry and Rebecca. I'm just saying they got that. Sorry, Morgan. Sorry. Gotcha. Okay. Fine, you're good. All right. So anyway, well, no, I'm not talking about like right now. I'm talking about like later. I'll get you hooked up with them. They're uh, Rebecca and Jerry are weird and cool as fuck. Trust, yeah, they might be into that. Anyway, all right, guys, I'll talk to you about that stuff later. Anyway, all right. So principle is that you have to be obsessed, not interested, not just invested, obsessed. So when I said that I was gonna do 100 videos in 100 days, right? From 8:30 until 10 o'clock for the most part. I was scared, I was nervous, I was everything, but I was committed to doing it. And I was obsessed with getting it done. Obsessed with getting it done. Right? A lot of people they could talk that chitter chatter. Me, Chris, and Miss Angia, we know people who love to talk. We know people who love to talk. But how many are actually pulling the trigger to do what they said they would do? Finish it from start to finish, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of how long it takes. You start. Once it comes out your mouth, you got to go do it. Not everybody's like that. I'm just saying, not everybody's like that. We know people that are not like that. But I also know a couple people that are. Anya is one of them. Miss Renita, she out there getting it. Miss Morgan is massively out there getting it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying that for what I see, from like what I see. Everybody else, I'm not saying y'all don't. I'm just saying what I see. These individuals are massively relentless, constantly. No days off type shit. Like Morgan built her house from the ground up, right up the street, right between Papillion and Bellevue. Right off of what is that? What is that? 36? Is that 36? No, K Part. K Part. 40. I think 42nd turns into Papillion. Morgan built her house before everybody was over there. Y'all hear? Like we used to drive around and go look at. Remember that, Morgan? We used to go look at your house before it was built. Like when it was just like when they were just digging the ground up. She's like, "Oh my God, let me go show you my house." Nothing's there. Just a big ass empty lot. Then we'll go back and see it again. 48th the K Part. Sorry about that. Go back and see it again. There's like a door, but then you can like kind of like walk right through it. Like it was crazy. This before she had neighbors. Now you couldn't tell that she was like one of the first houses over there. You couldn't tell. But it was crazy. And just to think all that was a cornfield. I did tell you that. I told you, you're like, dude, you're going to live in dirt. Yeah, because that's all it was. I'm like, dude, this is your house? This is gross. Oh, man. Anyway, though, but still involve our kids and our stuff, but commit to whatever you say. She wanted a house that was wheelchair accessible, handy, neurodivergent accessible, handy capable accessible, and that's what she built from the ground up. So just saying it can be done. All right, so question. What would my business look like if I treated it like my life's mission? And I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about anything. If you put your mind to whatever you were going to do, if you showed up to life like you were being paid for it, like what would life look like? If you showed up to life like you were like being paid to show up, and I'm talking about handsomely well, what would life look like a little bit? I mean, you can answer that if you like, but I'm just asking, what would it look like if you showed up to life like some of y'all show up to business, like you show up to your job, like you'll show up for bullshit? How obsessed would you be with life if you obsessed over life like you do on Instagram or TikTok or watching YouTube shorts and shit? See, a lot of us, man, we talk that shit, but we not really about that. So we do. I ain't gonna lie to you. It almost seems like some of us are just waiting to die. And I'm not trying to be morbid by no means, but how else do you explain it? You know what I mean? But Sam Walton, we can say whatever we want to about the man and the legacy that he left, but he left a legacy that his children's children will eat off of until Amazon put their ass out of business. Just saying. Because that's who Walmart's biggest competitor is. It's Walmart. It's Amazon. Everything fails, ladies and gentlemen. Everything. So what do we do? Pour into it daily. Time, sweat, strategy, energy. Obsession creates momentum. What are you obsessed about? I love to read. I love to teach. I love to think. I'm obsessed with that. So, Chris said something. I love what Chris just said. I'm going to have to put that up there. Chris said, if Sam Walton walked into Walmart today, he'd be pissed. Why? Here's the thing, Chris. You can't say something like that without giving an explanation. Now, here's the thing, y'all. To give a little bit of background on Chris. Chris worked at Walmart. But I'm pretty sure that Chris did not know Sam Walton. So you can't make a statement like that, sir, without backing it up with some type of explanation. So why would he be upset? All right, we're going to go to the next one. Okay, share your profits with your partners. And here's the crazy thing about this, right? Yadi, are you still here? I was hoping that you would be in this one because I think that everything that I learned when I read this book is the same thing I applied at the bookstore. Like the same exact thing. And it says that if you want people in the stores to take care of your customers, you have to make sure that you take care of the people that you have to take care of your employees, right? So the principle was treat your people or your employees like partners and reward them like owners. Ms. Yachty, did I ever once treat you like an employee? Ever? Anytime I had a meeting, I would tell Yachty, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. I would tell Yachty, I don't want to know something that you don't know. I would tell her, I don't want to know something that you don't know, ever. That's not my thing. Whether you knew what I was doing, Miss Yachty, or not, I was treating you as if you were my business partner. And I think that you felt that because you told me on many occasions, I've worked at a lot of different places and nobody's ever took the time to explain any of this stuff to me and treated me the way that you have. And again, it wasn't like no weird shit like grooming anybody or nothing like that. Everything I told her, I could say it in front of any and everybody, right? Everything that I talk, everything that I learned, I want to make sure that she knew it too, because I don't believe that one person should know something that somebody else doesn't either. I don't like that. If I know it, I want to make sure you know it. Right? That's how I felt. That's how I ran shit. That's how I ran stuff. Morgan, when we were at Kobaya, how many times did people say, man, I'm going to go off and go start my own business? How many times did I tell them, come on through? I will teach you how to do it. Remember, Scott, he used to say that all the time. Man, I think I could run it better. Perfectly. Come on in, sit down. I'll teach you how to do your own. So I was never scared of competition. Never. Never. Because here's the thing, even with the bookstore, I never looked at it like competition. I'm thinking, dude, if y'all do the same thing we're doing, man, oh my God, that's motivation for me. That's inspiration for me. Like whatever y'all got going on, I want to help. If you put me out of business and shit, it just means I didn't do a good job marketing or advertising or selling my stuff at a reasonable price. Share profits with your partners. And then when we stopped the bookstore, I told Yachty, hey, learn this, learn that, learn this, learn that. I told Yachty what I was going to do. But way before I started doing the 100 episodes. I told Yachty this, like, what? I told her, like, well, we've been doing this for 3 months. So I told Yachty probably 6 months ago, I think, somewhere around there, what I was going to do. So between her and Jessica, they've been knowing what I was going to do. You got to have that some type of social proof. Talk to people to let people know what you got going on. Okay? All right, question. Am I creating a culture of ownership or just employment? One of the things that when Yachty would come in, she'd be like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. Can we move this over here? Can we move that over there? I'm like, let me know what you're going to do, but just go do it. Go do it. If I don't like it, then I don't like it. Otherwise, we could change it back, but just go. If you get the idea, go. I mean, let me know and then just go or whatever. Because I also needed to make sure that we weren't doing anything that's going to break the rules either. Or whatever, you see what I mean? So let me know, but as long as it's not killing anybody, not messing anything up, run. Go do whatever you need to do. Okay? That's what I would tell her all the time. So I tried to never treat her like an employee. I always tried to treat her like one of my partners. Period. right? So what to do? Hey, what's up, John? So what to do? Design profit sharing bonuses and rewards tied to team performance. And you can do that. I got that part from ChatGPT based on when I was reading his book because I didn't know how to write the right sentence for that. I'll tell you this. In short, when you treat people like you want to be treated as an owner of something, if you treat them like they're your equal, the things that people will do for you is crazy. Crazy. I remember when I had one of my first business, my employees were making more money than I was. That was a fact. I know because I'm the one who signed their paychecks. And I own the business. I had employees making more than me. And I loved every minute of it. I loved paying that out. Loved it. I would brag to them like, yo, you made more money than I did this pay period. I would show them my checks. I would show them. I loved people seeing how well they were doing. I love that. I can't speak for everybody else. I can't speak for all owners, business owners. I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for me. But that's what I brought to the table. All right, so number 3, motivate with recognition. Nothing else can quite substitute, excuse me, for a few well-chosen and well-timed words of encouragement, words of praise, words of appreciation. If you go to Gallup is a company that does research, and they do research and development on a lot of different businesses. They do like research development on businesses in general, right? So if you want to know why people quit businesses, Gallup is where you go. We have a Gallup in Omaha, between Omaha and Carter Lake. That's where the one is. I don't know if we have any other ones, but we have one over there. And it's a fairly cool company because they notice trends before everybody else does. And when people say, well, if you want people to stay, you need to pay them more. That is one of the biggest myths. Let me scoot up a little bit. That is one of the biggest myths in business that you will ever hear. That people will stay if you pay them more. I have seen people get paid an ungodly amount of money and still quit a job. I have seen people make more money than God and still show up late every day to work. I have seen people make so much money that if I told you how much money some of these people made, you would think I was joking, and they still ended up being fired from their jobs. Money does not make people stay. It doesn't. Because if you pay that, somebody else somewhere else will pay the same thing. It's supply and demand. If you're good at what you do, somebody else is going to snag you up and pay you what that other company was paying you. But if you got that job just because of money in the first place, then no matter what job you get, you're going to lose it. I have also seen on the flip side, I have also seen people not make shit for pay and have been there for years because they love that atmosphere. They love the camaraderie. They feel welcomed. They feel like they belong. It is personal. And they just met these people at work. I talk to Naomi all the time. She was working at the same place that I was. Man, she had been at the other place for 15 years. Never felt appreciated. They never really checked on her. They didn't give a shit. When she left, the owners didn't even come by and say thank you for your service. It was nothing. She's somewhere right now where they appreciate her. They do so much for her, and they just do that in general because that's their culture. She makes more money than she did before. Actually, no, she actually took a pay cut. But happier now with that pay cut than she was when she was working at this place making all that money. See what I mean? Some people don't give a shit. You know, I'm just throwing it out there. How many of you guys have known somebody? Say I. How many of you have known somebody or people that have worked at a job, didn't get paid shit, and would not leave that job because they loved it so much? Just say I. Christopher said yes. How many of us have known people that have worked at a particular place and ended up staying, although they didn't make shit? They loved being there. And you could not pull them away if you tried. And here's the thing, y'all. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you that money is an end all be all, because it's not, right? So what's our principle here? The principle that Sam taught. People work harder for appreciation more than they do for money. I've seen great, amazing, you're never going to find this type of person again type staff quit or be fired from a place more than I've seen people come in. And sadly enough, those same people that quit or got fired, something ended up happening where they did not feel appreciated. They didn't feel appreciated. Just saying. I've seen more people quit jobs because they didn't feel appreciated. And again, they made a lot of money. But man, if you don't feel like you belong in a place, I don't give a fuck how much. Well, I feel you probably stay if somebody was offering you like hundreds of thousands of dollars to basically do not much. But again, I've seen people quit jobs on that. I'm just saying. Dude. All right, so question. Who on my team hasn't been seen or celebrated lately? And that's something that you got to kind of look at as well. Even when I was working at an actual job, like there would be people that just did amazing. And even as my peer, I would go and tell them, like, dude, what you did was solid, bro. That was amazing. I love how you dealt with that person. I love how you did this. I love how you did that. Jerry Bear would be the first to tell you, when I would go into work, number one, I never called in. Never. 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 I was never late to work. Never. Never happened. In the years that man was my supervisor, he will tell you, I never called in. I was never late. Ever. Documentation, medication, everything I was supposed to do, done. No excuses. Not one. In the years, plural, that we work together, no problems. Not one. Right? But again, I would always see people doing amazing jobs, and I couldn't wait to tell them. I couldn't wait to tell them. I'm that guy who loves giving good news. I also like giving bad news too, especially the shitty people. I love giving that. I feel aroused when I do it. Right? So what to do? Catch somebody doing something right and say it out loud. That's what I do. So if you work for people, if you see somebody doing something amazing, if I see somebody reading a book, one of the things I ask is, hey, what are you reading? What's that book about? Is it good? You like it? And then, I mean, depending on what it is, I'll even buy it. I'll even buy it and read it too. Right? But I love seeing people do shit. I love catching people do stuff right. I practice on my son all the time. Like, Aiden, come here. What's up with this room? He's like, what? It looks good in here. Good job. Dad, I thought you was pissed. Not at all. Again, like I tell y'all, man, whatever energy you keep on that negative shit, you need to keep that same energy on that positive shit. You got to keep that same type of energy. So if you hooting and yelling about a shitty ass room, you need to be hooting and yelling about a clean ass room too. Keep that same energy. I'm just saying, how many times have I said it on in front of y'all, to y'all, that Chris and I, when we first met, man, whew, we did not have the best relationship. Now, that's my guy, man. That's my buddy. And why? Because he treats my friend the way that he does. He does any and everything for Anya. Now, am I saying that he ain't weird? No. Chris is weird as fuck. Like, as fuck. But, I mean, the way he treats my friend, though, you get no you get no complaints from me. Not one. Keep her happy, keep me happy. But now we've actually been able to build our own relationship or whatever, which again, I mean, that it's based on building from something else over here, or building from a mutual respect for someone else, and then we build our thing up from there, right? But again, I mean, if I see somebody doing something amazing, I tell you, I told him to his face I didn't like him when we first met, and I told him like months ago, I'm like, dude, I appreciate what you do with my friend, and I thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And he'll tell you that. I told him to his face. Right? You keep that same energy. If I can tell you I don't like you, I can tell you when I do. I can tell you when I do. Right? Just throwing that out there. Okay, so fun fact time. Bam, 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 bam. I should just get that little thing to Rebecca, that's your job. Like that's your job. Rebecca, I am tasking you, ma'am, with making sure that I get my little mixer board. That I get my little mixer board so I can do my little thing. All right, ma'am, that is your job. I'm tasking you with reminding me to do that. The mixer board. Because I want to push the button to down, 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 down. You know what I mean? I want to make my little noises just hitting the button instead of doing that up there, if I can. I like to preset it here to make it work. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And Renita, your job is to be the second backup in case she forgets. Pretty please sugar on top. Just saying, we got to figure this shit out, y'all. All right. So 1970. Yes, sir, Christopher. In 1970. So again, Sam Club started in 1962. 8 years later, in 1970, Sam took his company public. By 1985, Sam Walton was the richest man in America, with a net worth exceeding $1 billion, entirely family made, from ownership, scale, and execution. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. That line was not entirely family made, it was actually entirely self made. But because Sam included his family in everything that he did, I put family made. Because them 4 kids helped out too. His wife helped out too. Everybody in the immediate family was on board and everybody was working together to make that dream a reality. To make that dream a reality. You guys see what I'm saying? Again, people talk that shit, but they not for real about it. They're not. Okay? He brought his whole family in and they all built Walmart. All 4 of those kids are still alive. One's passed on, but they were all billionaires in 1985. Well, actually, no. They all became billionaires a little bit later on. But even he'll tell you in his book, he didn't buy his first helicopter until the company went public. And that's how he was figuring out where each Walmart would go. He would get in his helicopter, get up, and map out everything. But again, you also got to remember too, it was nothing but farm country everywhere. He would go to other companies, see what they were doing, take their shit, go to here, start implementing it immediately. Immediately. He didn't wait on it. He executed, right? So he didn't invent the discount retailing. He didn't invent it. Because I don't want people thinking that Sam actually invented the discount in retail industry. He did not. Sam Walton worked for other people throughout most of his life. He worked in the retail industry for most of his life. So he knew the ins and outs of that business. So again, if you read his book, he goes in and he talks about that, like relentlessly goes in and talks about it. Again, you got to remember when he wrote Made in America, he was on his deathbed. I don't mean that metaphorically. I guess metaphorically, right? I don't mean that like euphemistic. I mean that literally. He was dying. Same thing with Miyamoto Musashi. Remember we talked about him yesterday. Same dude. He wrote his shit in a cave. A little bit after that, he passed. So these men took their stuff. They wrote out their principles. They wrote out what they valued. They shaved everything off. They built what they needed to build. And then they wrote the shit out right before their demise. You know what Sam's biggest fear was? Sam's biggest fear was that his children, and Chris, this is where you come in, would be pompous assholes who didn't have to work for anything. That was Sam Walton's biggest fear. that his children would not have a work ethic. That is also the reason why everybody had to work at Walmart. You know, when you're 16 years old and you go out and go get a job, in the Walton household, you worked at Walmart. When you were done with school, you came to work at Walmart. When we closed for the night. Matter of fact, the kids would have to do their homework at the store. And as soon as they were done with their work, their studies, get on that floor and start working. Get on the floor and start working. That's what they did. All right? That's how they scaled up, because they all took ownership. When dad passed, the kids already knew what to do. The kids knew exactly what to do. All of the kids, except for one, went off to become a lawyer, and then he went off to go kind of do his own little thing or whatever. But the rest of the kids stayed at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, man, like you have to. People can say, and again, I'm not saying that Sam wasn't a piece of shit at times. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that you got to take your hat off to a man who loved his family so much and was like, no, y'all need to be here with me through every step of this. All of it. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, all of it. One of his kids would actually ride a bike everywhere. It's weird and funny too, or whatever. You guys gotta read. If you guys like to read the book. It's a really good book. I wouldn't say it was it's a fast book for me to read, but I think there was a lot of lessons in there. And every one of them, every lesson I'm giving you guys to talk to you about now are the lessons that he talked about in this book. There's nothing that's changed. The only thing that's different is that he goes in and really goes in on the stories that for each title. But for the most part, it was 10 principles that he talked about. So that's how that works. It is the word of the week, sponsored by. The word of the week is perspicuous. Perspicuous. Definition is an adjective, which means clearly expressed and easily understood. In layman's terms, if a child wouldn't understand what you're talking about, it is too complicated. If you couldn't explain this to young Ben and young Max, it is too goddamn complicated. Okay? So our daily duality of perspicuous, our synonym is comprehensible, able to understand, and our antonym, which is the opposite of perspicuous, is going to be the nebulous, which is vague or hazy. And for that, I wanted to give you guys a cute little gift. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what's called a nebula. Yes, your nebula. Isn't that beautiful, though? Isn't that beautiful? Just saying. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but dude, I love astronomy. Like, love astronomy. Not astrology, astronomy. I'm also a fan of pastrami too. So there's that. Just in case any of you want to make me a sandwich. Just saying. Anyway, so quick, another fun fact before we jump back into it. He opened his first Walmart, and again, I've already told you guys this, in 1962 in Rogers, Arkansas. His goal, now this was his objective, offer everyday low prices in underserved rural communities. That was it. He kept it as simple as possible. If you guys remember, aren't I always here? Aren't I always talking about that? Keeping keeping things as simple as we possibly can. Simplicity is everything. Keeping it simple. Because here's the thing, when it's simple, it's doable. It's memorable. And not only that, but it's replicatable. When it's simple. Right? And when it's simple, it's replicatable. Which means you can teach it to other people to consistently keep repeating. When things are complicated and convoluted, bro, you're going to have all kind of problems. Hey, hold on, let me see. Is this? Okay, cool. It's off. All right. All right, let's move on to the next. All right, so number 4, communicate everything you possibly can. Again, I had talked about this earlier. The more they know, the more you'll understand. The more that they understand, the more that they'll care. Yachty cared about our business because I cared about Yachty and whether or not she understood what we were doing. Right? Chris cared about 2 Dads in the Bookstore, regardless of the infighting and the bullshit and the treachery and the whatever went on. He still cared about the store within itself. Right? Now, Yachty and Chris were trained by 2 totally different people. Right? And that's honest to God's truth. One person's objective is, I want to make sure that Yachty knows everything. But not just Yachty, any and everybody. I also wanted to make sure that Anya knew everything. Jeremy knew everything. Everybody else who worked with us knew as much as I did. That's how we keep things rolling consistently. You see what I'm saying? The way Chris was trained to kind of like an isolated type of thing, where certain people wanted to make sure that he knew everything or what he needed to know, and then nobody else knew anything else. That is no way to run shit. That is no way to run anything. That's not a good look. That's not. Anytime you're trying to divide and conquer your own business, bro, that is appetite for destruction. That is a whole appetite for destruction when you do that. I would tell Yachty, no matter what happens, you don't work for me. You work for 2 Dads in a Bookstore. I'm just the one that pays you. We all move in one direction, and that direction is forward, and we hopefully will move together. No matter what happens, you do not pick sides. You pick the side of the business. That's the side that you pick. And in the meantime, in between time, let me give you this training. Let me teach you about business. Let me teach you some of these principles. Yachty been hearing this shit for over a year. That's why it's not new to her. She already been hearing it. It's not new to Miss Anya either. She's been listening to the same stuff that Yachty's been listening to. Actually, if anything, Anya's been hearing it longer. Jessica's been hearing it since before Anya. So again, I mean, everything I'm doing right now is it's the same shit all the way around. I haven't been one way with one person and one way with the other. If I know something, you gonna know the same thing too. Especially as long as you want to know. If you want to learn it, I will be more than happy to teach it to you. Even if you're the dumbest fucking person on earth, You just gonna have to get it real slow, but it's to give it to you. Where do I get that idea from? Vincent Lombardi. That's who taught me that. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Even the slowest person on the team should know exactly what everybody else knows. Everybody. One person should not know everything. Because then what happens when that person is no longer around? The whole thing's done. When you have multiple people doing the same thing and all people know the same thing, you can't lose. See what I mean? So that's the way that I like to run stuff. I like to run it where everybody knows the same thing. That's me. Okay. So principle is over communicate, which obviously, as you can hear, right? Underestimate nobody. Over communicate. Over communicate. Miss Yachty will tell you anytime I had like I told you guys before, anytime I had a meeting, I would make sure that she would sit down and listen in. If she had questions, ask your questions. There's nothing I know that I don't want you to know too. Nothing. Can I be honest with y'all? I didn't even understand. I didn't even know that was a sign of a leader until, ironically enough, Yachty pointed it out to me. Because see, me, I thought that that's what everybody's supposed to do. I honestly thought that that's what people were supposed to do. Give that information out. Give it out. I don't want to be the only person who knows it. I want to make sure everybody around me knows this. I mean, that's just me. That's how I feel about it. Question: what information am I withholding that could empower other people? What information do I have that could empower other people? Listen, man, some people are enemies of themselves. Sometimes even if you got funk with somebody, even if you got problems with another person, sometimes, and I'm just being honest with you, sometimes, bro, you don't even have to say nothing. Sometimes all you need to do is take a couple steps back and they gonna sink themselves. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Some people will sink themselves. Sad, man. Sad. Let me ask you guys, do you know people? Man, fuck everybody else. I'm gonna ask you, has any of you known something that could have helped another person and you said nothing? And be honest. How many of you knew something that could have helped another person or multitude of people and you said nothing? And I'll start off by saying because Lord knows I have done that before. I've known shit and I didn't say anything. Think about that. I've known stuff and didn't tell nobody else. Even Chris said yes. Even Christopher said yes. That's all I'm saying, y'all. Right? Why are we like that sometimes? Because sometimes sometimes it feels fucking good to be selfish. Doesn't it? Doesn't it feel fucking, don't you feel vindicated sometimes to be a little fucking selfish? Even I get into my mode sometimes. I do. Why the fuck do I always have to take the high road? That part. And that's what I'm talking about. Right there, Rebecca. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. That is no, I'm no. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right? It's especially when your help ain't no longer needed. Fuck am I here for? Well, really? Like, bro, you asking everybody else how to do X, Y, and Z, and you could have just called me and asked me. I'd have given you that answer in 5 seconds. I'd have not only given you the answer, I would have given you the phone number to call a certain person. And matter of fact, hell, I would have even helped to buy the equipment to have that person get it done for you. But when people know everything, okay, okay, I get it. I get it. No problem. Isn't that funny? How so many of us can get so much further ahead, but we are our own worst enemy sometimes. I was just talking to a friend of mine last night, and we were talking about her daughter, and our daughter is having these issues of not asking for help. And because she didn't ask for help, this individual fucked up her property. I'm like, yeah, you know, but she has that same type of attitude where, after you, it's like, why didn't you ask for help? Because I didn't want nobody's help. What? You need help, but you don't want anybody's help. You don't ask for help, but you need help. It's like, well, I only want one person to help me. What happens if that person is dead or indisposed of? Are you going to keep that same energy for the rest of your life? That's dangerous. I can already tell you what type of life you about to have. Because at least if you ask for help and you don't get it, then you can always say, hey, man, I put my hand out. Nobody fucked with me. It happens. Okay. But to intentionally know that you need help and then people try to help you and you smack their hand away, cool, not a problem. We good. Won't ask you again. Good luck with that. Oh, I'll give you a hint. You're putting that in the wrong place. But you got it. Deuces. Right? Serious, right? So what to do? Start a regular rhythm of transparent updates, weekly huddles, and often open dashboards of shared goals. What are we talking about? What do we mean by that? Start a regular rhythm of transparent updates. That means, hey man, let's everybody sit down and let's kind of have this open dialogue of what's going on. Let's talk about the who, what, where, why, when, how, and if. This is where we get those questions out. This is where we have those brainstorming sessions. This is when we build. And God damn it, let's do it together. Let's order some pizza and let's have some fun. Yeah, I hear you, Chris. I've had to do the same thing, buddy. I worked at many temporary work, temp places, so I can get money, bro. Yeah, I feel you. I hear you. It happens. I remember I went to a payday cash loan place, and I got out $120, and I had to get that out because I took a couple dollars for gas. But I had to take that out so I could pay for fucking daycare for my kid. And then to pay that back, I had to go work at this tip agency for like 3 days. So now, bro, I know exactly what you're talking about, homie. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay? All right. Okay, number 5. Appreciate everybody's contribution. Appreciate everybody's contribution. Okay? Listen to everyone in your company and figure out ways to get them talking. Figure out ways to get them talking. Chris, I had seen on multiple occasions you had suggested several different things that certain people, but again, you didn't mention any of that to me. But when you told me about it later on, I'm like, dude, that's a great idea. I was like, Chris, that's a really good idea. Why didn't we do that? What did you say to me? I did. I talked to such and such about it. And he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And never did anything with it. You know what I'm saying? I talked to such and such about it. Yeah, it never got implemented. You know, people talk to me about shit. I'm like, oh, what is that? Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, just do it. Yeah, just do it. Let me see what it looks like later. It's not hurting nobody. It's not breaking the law. It's not messing up anything on our lease. Run with it. I love the idea. Show me when you're done. If we don't like it, then we can always go back to the way it was. I wish you had it too, man. I wish that we had, Chris said, I wish I'd have come to you with my ideas. I wish you would have too. But here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I don't know if I'd have even listened. I don't know if I would have listened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that my attitude towards you at that particular time, I think my ego, pride, and angerness would have prevented me from listening. I don't know if I'd have been able to separate the two things. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I would have, but I don't know. And I don't want to sit here and say, oh, yeah, I would have done, but I don't know. I like to think that I'd have had an open mind to listen. But I also know if I'm pissed off about some shit, I'm going to keep that same energy for a minute. At least at that time. Now, give me a couple minutes. Give me a day or so, then we can talk about it again. Okay? All right, so principle, great ideas don't care where they come from. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Great ideas don't care where they come from. You know? So what's your question? How often do I ask my frontline people what they think? Now, that is something that I did on a consistent basis. Yeah, sir, we are cool now, bro. Very much cool now. But one of the things I would ask people is, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think if I do this over here? I don't ask it as much as I used to. I don't nowhere near ask the things that I used to. I don't think that I. Sorry, my brain just went blank for a second. It's a great thing about trial and error, right? Because I'm doing this alone, I'll still ask like Jessica about like maybe like this, that, or the other, or if I'm talking to somebody else about something, I may ask like, hey, what do you think if I did this, if I did that, or, you know, whatever. I might go that route. But as far as what we're doing here, probably not so much, right? But the brick and mortar store, yeah, very much so. Yeah. Like I very much do. Or would. Okay, what to do? Create safe, open channels for idea sharing, and actually implement the good ones. And that's one of the things that I was always talking about is implementing the things that we're consistently talking about. It's one thing if you want to sit around um talking about great ideas, but it's something totally different to implement those things that you're talking about. I've been talking about doing working with people, doing videos, doing lives and this and the other. Now I just do it. I don't even really think about it too much. I may have an idea and then it'll take me maybe 45 minutes. So by the time we get on and we're doing this, I just set this thing up. Again, I know what I want to talk about, but as far as setting everything up, 25, 45 minutes tops. I like to do other stuff before I get on and do my job or start working, right? All right. So with that said, last fun fact. Sam Walton's view on unions. I wanted to end this on this note because this is really what people think about Sam's Club now. So while Sam uh, didn't demonize unions outright, he believed they were a sign that management had failed. He said, if you're not taking care of your people, they will find somebody else that will. They'll find. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, hold on. Sorry about that. There it is. Yeah, matter of fact, I didn't put a comma. Technically, you don't need a comma with that. All right, so Walmart in retaliation, this is usually what they'll do: fire you, or they'll close the store permanently, and in some cases, without warning. Without warning. You want to mention union at Walmart? I assure you, you will not be there long. Really, the post office isn't union, Chris? The post office isn't union? I mean, I didn't know that. Yeah, I did not know that at all. But yeah, now that's how Walmart feels about unions. So if any of y'all end up going there and deciding to work there, if you bring up that U word, your ass will be in another U word called the unemployment line. Yes. Yeah, I do know. I dated a young lady that worked there oh my God, when I was a teenager. And I remember her working there. And she said that they would go in and they would adjust her hours so she would get no overtime whatsoever, which she wasn't trying to get overtime. But they would go in and shave her hours down to make sure she was just at 40 or a little under. If you work there, you better be doing it off the clock. You will not be on the clock working overtime at Walmart. They're not playing that. Yeah. I gotta write this down because there's something else I want to discuss, but I'll talk about that in part two. Gotta write it down. Like I know there was something else I wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, I remember this. And matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up the video and show you guys the video of it because when I saw that, I was like, God damn, that is crazy. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Tomorrow I will give you guys a cheat sheet for today's and tomorrow's because like I said, there's 10 of these things all together. But no, thank you guys so much for coming and participating. Miss Rebecca, Miss Renita, I will hopefully hear from you guys tomorrow. Or whatever you guys, I have given you both jobs to do. Hopefully it gets accomplished. Because Lord knows I'm going to forget. So, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Get some rest. Have a good night. And like I always tell you, dream big. And in the words of Miss Anya, bye.